Scott Drew has been busy these days, man. He has been real busy on the recruiting trail, obviously mostly in the transfer portal and trying to replace this mess that has been dealt to Baylor basketball through a couple of different reasons that they have no players coming back. None. And we know that this is not the most fruitful part of the transfer portal here. The window is obviously closed. We saw this towards, last season, getting a guy like Marino Dubravcic in the summer. That's probably more what you're looking at this time of year than a Jeremy Roach or a Norchad Obier. Okay, so anybody with any kind of Power 4 experience at this point in the portal is a pretty good get. That's where Divine Ugochukwu comes in. Ugochukwu, I think is actually how you say it, from the University of Miami. He's a kid with not a lot of playing time this year. I mean, I shouldn't say that. He was part of the rotation, but he wasn't starting a ton of games, playing 20 minutes a game. He was just a freshman, so he's got years of eligibility left. 5 points a game, 2 rebounds, 2 assists, shot at about 48%. He had a long list of teams that were reaching out to him. Baylor was certainly hot on the trail pretty early on in the process. And now it seems he is starting to narrow it down. Has not ruled out Baylor, but one of the teams that is swept right in like that West Texas wind is the Texas Tech Red Raiders here in the last few days. Grant McCasland's team, they have made a serious push. The meetings right now for Ugochukwu is Michigan State, USC, and Tech. Going to get those knocked out over the next few days. And I think this is a really interesting kind of pursuit to look at for both teams, because for Tech, I just don't know how much he's fitting the play style. He's a guy that the good teams in the ACC hunted defensively. There's videos out on Twitter of Duke just hunting him every time down, like the Celtics did with Luka in the finals last year, right? Like he's got these long arms. That's why he's a gifted rebounder for a guy at his size at only 6'3", and he can disrupt the passing lanes a little bit. But he's just not like a lockdown, get down in the mud kind of defender, which I think Grant McCasland is going to demand of anybody on that team. And I think it's worked really well for Grant McCasland in that Tech program, and for that Tech program through a couple of different coaches. You can't, we talk all about Houston in this conference and how good they are defensively, but you can't go to Tech and not play defense. It's not an option. You can't go to Tech and be a lawn chair out there. That's a team that you can't hunt mismatches against. They do that to you. Tech, Iowa State, Houston, that's what those teams do. Baylor used to do it. Not as much the last couple of years. But he comes in and can be a really good depth piece for either one of these teams. He's not walking into a starting lineup on either one of these teams. If he couldn't do that for Miami, which was a bad team last year, he's certainly not going to do it for even a Baylor, which starts out on a lower plane, much lower plane than Tech does going into 2025-26. So that leaves, the chances of starting at Tech absolutely slim to none. He's not a shooter. He shoots at under 20% from three, 17.6%. As a matter of fact, last time I checked, that's not good. And for a primary ball handler, there are some worries there. 19% assist rate, it's fine, it's good, but a 25% turnover rate. So that's a wash. That's washing out a pretty good assist rate, right? 1 in every 4 times, he can turn the ball over. 1 in every 4 times you put the ball in his hands, he's going to give it to the other team. That's not a starter right there. And certainly his athletic ability is the biggest upside. Like the kid, it has plenty of hops. Again, the arm length is salivating for a team that really loves on-ball pressure, and he should be able to guard guys that are bigger than him defensively because of that advantage. But he's still pretty raw as an offensive player, to the point where you're thinking, he's got to be a ball handler because he sure as heck ain't a shooter. Okay? He's a good finisher at the rim. You kind of get that Rob Wright style of rim finishing offense with a much bigger player and leaner player at 6'3" with the long arms rather than 6'1" and the rather short arms for Rob Wright, which were which are, one of the big downsides to his game, an otherwise pretty good game. So you get that back. But if you're Baylor, in a weird way, you still have plenty of open spots, but it might not even be worth it to get a guy like this. And I'm not just saying that as a coping mechanism. Like, you already have your point guards in JJ White and Obi Agbim, and neither of them are very stout defensively. Like, you don't know if you can roll out a lineup with those two guys out there, let alone a different guy who's not that great defensively. And you look at the size and the athleticism and the arms and, the shooting splits and everything. You already have a better version of Divine Ugochukwu already on your team. You had him last year on the bench. Cameron Carr from Tennessee. You already have him. Like, this is what I was saying about Keelan Marion, the All-American kick returner, wide receiver from BYU that Baylor offered. I was like, you already have him at home. You have a better version in Josh Cameron. For Divine Ugochukwu, he's obviously one of the biggest names on the market in terms of the transfer portal, especially at this point. But and I'm not going to say ever turn down a guy who is a Sugarland native, a Texas native who's already played in the Power Four. I don't think Baylor's in a position to really do that. But if it comes down to money and to fit, it's like, man, we'd love for you to come here, but we do already have a version of you. We already have you. We need some help in other areas of the team rather than a ball handling guard. We have at least 3 of those. So it would sting if you lose him to a conference rival like Tech, especially a guy who is so close to Scott Drew. But I don't know how much he really helps Tech, and that's a compliment to Tech's team. And I don't know where he fits into this Baylor team. But as we talked about with Jackson Posey on the last episode on Friday, this is not done. They need to continue cooking here. Like, they need a couple of guys. They still need some kind of slash forward depth, is what I call them, wing guys. They obviously don't grow on trees in the transfer portal, at least not the good ones. And you need some defensive guys here in the backcourt specifically. You've probably got 1 or 2 more backcourt spots to fill. They've got to be good enough defensive players, and you've got to get good defensive contributions out of guys like Cam Carr, and hopefully Obi Agbim and JJ White can combine to be a good defender. But we'll see. Let me know what you guys think in the comment section below. Is this actually a good fit for Tech or Baylor for Divine? Let me know in the comment section below. Be sure to like the video, subscribe to the channel, find us on YouTube, and wherever you find your podcasts as well.